You're listening to the Estate Plan Lady Show with Yvonne Dantzler, where we talk about planning for your future. Whether it's estate planning, life insurance, retirement, or savings, we've got you.
Hello everyone, Yvonne Dantzler here, and thank you for tuning in to the Yvonne's Wealth and Knowledge podcast show. Today we're out on location at one of the beautiful parks in Southern California. So if you hear any background noises such as cars going by, people talking, dogs barking, any of the above, it's because I'm out on location at one of the local parks podcasting to you. So let's move on. So one of the main topics, a brief podcast show today we're going to have is on Americans' greatest financial fears. Once again, we're going to talk briefly on what's Americans' greatest financial fears. Now remember, Americans feared unplanned financial emergencies and the ability to afford to retire comfortably more than anything else financially. I'm looking at a brief study that was done by Northwestern Mutual's 2015 Planning and Progress Study, where they surveyed some folks here. And you'd be surprised on the top 14, actually 13 things that's troubling or what people are very concerned about it. So let's go. So the first one is a financial emergency. The second one is not enough savings to retire. The third one is medical expenses due to illness. The fourth one is outliving the retirement savings. Number 5 is identity theft. Number 6, inability to afford health care. Number 7, financial burden to family. Number 8, the loss of job. Number 9, extended unemployment. Number 10, death of a primary breadwinner. Number 11, poor credit. Number 12, victim of a financial scam. Number 13, having to file bankruptcy. And number 14 is other. So we're going to talk briefly on the first 13. Let's go ahead and dive in. So if you want to take notes, please do. This is a financial show, and we just try to definitely give you just an overview and a background and just something to think about. So let's talk about the first thing, a financial emergency. Number 1 is a financial emergency. It can happen to any of us. We're told to have about 6 months in savings in the bank at any given time for any type of financial emergency. Anything can happen. A vehicle, car accident can happen, whether it's your fault or someone else's fault. You can be walking across the street and get hit. You can injure yourself doing anything. It could be your fault or someone else's fault, but it doesn't matter. That financial emergency has been created. And this is what we're talking about. This is a definite fear for Americans. The next thing is not enough. Number 2 is not enough savings to retire. The number 2 thing is not enough savings to retire. Now, this is definitely becoming an epidemic because a lot of these companies now are removing the retirement plans because it's costing them as much. There's a lot of reasons why there's just not enough savings to retire. The lower wages, depending upon where you stay, the cost of living, a divorce, a separation, being a single parent, being a couple, and just not having enough money. So there's all kind of ways for just not having enough savings to retire. Number 3, medical expenses due to illness. Medical expenses due to illness. So it kind of piggybacks on number 1. So once again, you can be in a car accident and automatically be hospitalized for 6 months. Any type of medical emergency, if your child gets sick, if you get sick, you have to go even to the ER now. They charge a copay even if you're fully covered with some plans. So these are some of the things you have to take into consideration. Medical expenses due to illness. Medical expenses due to illness. Number 4, outliving your retirement savings. Now, we've got the flip side. We've got a lot more people living in America outliving their retirement savings. They're actually getting older, growing older gracefully. Some of them with the technology of drugs and medicine, they're able to live longer. Whatever the case is, they're outliving their retirement savings. You might have thought you had enough and you just don't have enough. So you're outliving your retirement savings. Number 5, identity theft. Identity theft can happen to anyone. We all know this. A lot of us have been scammed. We didn't even know, or we have had identity theft. I personally have had identity theft when I've had the best of credit. I've also had identity theft when I've had not so good credit. It can be as basic as getting utilities put in your name, a cell phone, all these things that sometimes we just don't even know about that can creep up on us. So identity theft is definitely a concern. Number 6, the inability to afford health care. Number 6, once again, the inability to afford health care. We all know what's going on now under the new presidency and under the old presidency. Right now there's a fight for health care, for reasonable health care out there. So whether you're for the old health care or for the new one that's about to try to come into fruition, all we're concerned about is the inability to afford it. It's still expensive for a lot of people. So a lot of mid-wage earners, they're still finding it hard to afford health care because they're having to pay out of pocket. They don't qualify for the free health care in a lot of states. In the state of California, for example, we have the Medi-Cal program. This is for people that earn a low-wage earner or no-wage earner, low income. So if you're making $50,000, $60,000 a year, of course you won't qualify for that same program. More than likely, it'll be coming out of your pocket. Either you're picking your own health care plan or you're signing up with an employer. Either way you go, the costs are there. Number 7, financial burden to family. Once again, number 7, a financial burden to your family. This is becoming more and more now as the health care costs and the cost of living, period, is just rising. But the wages aren't matching. So you're finding this out with a lot of older adults, where now the adult children are taking care of their parents. Now it can happen vice versa. You've got a lot of older grandparents now that are raising their younger grandchildren because of what's going on, helping out, or they actually have custody. We don't know. But this can be a financial burden to the family because you might have had planned out, if you're a grandmother, you had planned out your retirement years, and now you find yourself raising a grandchild. This is just an example. There's plenty of financial burdens to family out there. It doesn't mean that you won't deal with it and that you're not, that's not a beautiful thing. It's just it can be a burden financially. The next thing, number 8, is losing my job. Once again, number 8, losing a job. The fear of job loss right now, and just with the whole market itself, the whole job market itself changing, and as we're going from more into technology, more and more into technology, and just a lot of jobs are not there anymore. So the people that have jobs, there are a lot of them out there just fearful, that maybe you're first starting out into the job market. Maybe you're in between 40s, 50s. Maybe you're ready to retire. This can make a big difference. Losing your job can make a big difference if you, once again, don't have enough saved, or you've got plans and you're almost there. Your company can lay you off. The company can go out of business. They can file bankruptcy. There's a lot of things happening right now with losing my job. Number 9, extended unemployment. So here we go. Extended unemployment. Once again, this is the person that's out a while. You can be out. Extended unemployment can come from a financial emergency. You can actually lose your job under extended unemployment. Let's say you're in security field and you haven't been there long enough, or whatever the case is, and let's say that you need to go out on a medical leave because of something happening. I personally know someone who was a security guard officer, and he actually was really good supervisor, handled his business, and he actually had to go out on a medical leave. And he lost his job. They couldn't hold the job for him. They had to offer it to someone else. They had to offer his job he was doing such a great job at to someone else. So there you go, extended unemployment. He's going to be out for 6 months due to his illness. So, next, number 10, death of a primary breadwinner. Death of a primary breadwinner. This can happen all the time. So you see a lot of couples where the primary breadwinner, maybe the husband, could be the wife. Now, we don't know what's going on. Times have changed. That person has passed away. Now you've got the one who either is a stay-at-home parent. Now they're having to find themselves, either if they owned a home in foreclosure, sooner or later, bankruptcy, a lot of things happen. So the death of a primary breadwinner, it speaks for itself. It can happen. It is real. And if you don't have the adequate coverage of life insurance or savings to back it up, it speaks for itself. Number 11, poor credit. Well, this kind of piggybacks to the other ones we have up here. Poor credit can come from a financial emergency. It can come from identity theft. It can come from a job loss. It can come from medical expenses. So poor credit, the inability of paying your bills on time or paying them at all. So poor credit can happen to anyone. You can have an 850 today and a 450 in a year. It can happen. It speaks for itself. Number 12, victim of a financial scam. Once again, number 12, victim of a financial scam. This also speaks for itself. People coming along with these pie-in-the-sky opportunities, people knowingly coming after you. You're seeing a lot of this now happening with seniors, people targeting seniors, and they don't have people around to protect them or to ask questions of, or they just can't afford it to have an attorney maybe to ask questions, or a family member. You're going to see this more and more. Victims of financial scams. And it doesn't have to be a senior. It could be a young person. I know a lot of us have gone through it. I've been through it too. So, 13, having to file for bankruptcy. Having to file bankruptcy is 13. A lot of people are very fearful of bankruptcy. Bankruptcy can be a very good thing. It can be a start over mechanism for a lot of people that have experienced 1 through 12. So it's there for you. We're going to have more upcoming podcasts on the subject of bankruptcy, along with other things as Social Security, retirement, etc. But having to file for bankruptcy, it's a big fear. There's still that stigmatism tied to bankruptcy. People think if they file it, people in the job know, or something of the sort. Filing bankruptcy is a public thing, but unless your employer is out there looking, or unless you open your mouth, you say something to someone, the fear should not be there. If you have to file it, it's there for you. And there's different laws to that and different rules to that, and that's just a different podcast for a different day. So number 14 is other. There are plenty other reasons I can think of for the greatest financial fears, Americans' greatest financial fears, but we're just targeting the first 13. So just wanted to go over some things with you and just let you know, more than likely, if you're listening to this podcast, you've got at least 2, if not more, of these things happening right now. I would stand to say 4. 4 out of 13, 14 things happening right now. And it's there. You're human. We just want to let you know that listening to this podcast show is listening and getting education from other people, other financial educators like myself and coaches. We're going to make it. You're going to make it through. And this is just part of the process of starting to just turn things around. I believe it's never too late, almost for anybody, to start anew. So these are just things that we're talking about today. Quick podcast on this, on America's greatest financial fears. So we're going to have more podcast shows coming up on this subject, on different things. And first of all, I just thank you for tuning in to the Yvonne's Wealth and Knowledge podcast show. And everyone have themselves a great day.
You've been listening to the Estate Plan Lady podcast with your host, Yvonne Dantzler. If you like what you've just heard, please subscribe and share our channel today. We invite you to listen again. Visit us at www.estateplanlady.com or call us at 909-440-8617. We are located in Southern California.